G'day, Stu from UAV Futures here, and today, well, what we're checking out could possibly be one of the last Cinebee reviews I ever do, and the reason is simple. Not because this thing is bad, but I don't know about you, but I feel like these things have cut, like there's been so many of these iterations, and I'm just not finding them terribly exciting anymore. So this might be the last one that I ever do of this style anyway. I'm still super keen about all the other cool stuff, but when it comes to like these little tiny whoop, they're not even whoops anymore, micros, lights, whatever, toothpick style of frames with ducks or not ducks, and oh, can they do HD? All that sort of stuff. For me, it's just, I don't know, what do you guys think? But I feel, put your comment, let me know. I want to read these in the comments. But how do you feel about all these things? It feels like we've had so many of these little micro things coming out. So, I don't know. I'm getting a bit micro fatigued, if you ask me. But we still need to finish this one. What we're going to be doing, this is the bench breakdown and the flight review of the Eachine Cinecan. And it's meant to take after the trash can, which I really did like. That's about a year ago now. So we still, feels like we're still doing these things a year later. This one, it can do HD. We're very quickly going to stick it on the bench, break it down, and then go out and have some fun. So as a bit of an overview, what it is, let's stick it on the scales with my patented egg cup technique. It's coming in at about 135 grams. It takes a little 3S battery, which I've got somewhere. Let me go find one of them. All right, 159 grams, but alright, so anyway, it's coming in at 159 grams, even if that's a bit tricky to see with the scales right there. And what it's designed to do is fly around and I guess capture some good HD footage in here, because we've got the Caddx Tarsair, which look is a pretty good camera. It can do up to 4K, fly around and record some things. It's got ducks on here, so it doesn't, if it's going to bump into something, you know, if you're taking it to, I don't know, a car show or something, you want to get some nice HD footage. Everyone always rips on me when I say HD, but yeah, it's just all about getting some footage in a tiny form factor. Now what we should do, let's go through the components, starting the outside in. Of course, we've got one big duck. It's the same frame they used for the trash can, and we've got some little 4-blade props on here, which feel extremely generic. And then underneath that, we've got some 7,000 kV motors, 1103s. Towards the middle, everything else is pretty standard. You know, we've got our normal F4 Crazy Bee, 10 amp ESC with a 12 amp burst. Our flight, it's an F4 flight controller. On top of that, we do have something pretty cool. We've got our little VTX, which can go up to 200 milliwatts, which is a nice little addition. Of course, smart audio, and then the big one inside here, and I'll put a picture on the screen. We've got the Tarsair, like I mentioned. Now that's probably why this thing is a little bit more expensive. I think it's about 165 without the receiver, up to 170 with the receiver. I'll put some links down below anyway. But essentially, that's it, and it's got a little dipole antenna at the back. It's super simple stuff, nothing too exciting. Let's move on, talk about the design of the thing, and I'm going to say it's not really my favorite. Now maybe, look, I'm just a bit fatigued and biased, I guess, against it, but we've seen so many of these things. It feels a little bit flimsy, and I don't know, it's not the best experience if you want to get some nice juicy footage. I think you're much better suited to some of those larger ones that carry a GoPro, all that sort of stuff. Yes, it's nice to rip around if you want to, you know, fly around your backyard and show some of your friends some of that HD footage, but for its main purpose, I feel like it's kind of lost in the middle. It doesn't fly as well as micros that don't carry HD, and I think you get something better like the Lava, which I absolutely loved and was a joy to fly around, and it doesn't get the footage as nice as some of the bigger ones out there. So it's kind of in a bit stuck in the middle, but I don't know. But look, maybe I'm just having an off day when it comes to how I feel about this thing. Moving on, talking about the quality of the thing. Well, look, it's an Eachine. I've seen how the trash can goes, and this one I'm going to say it's about a 6 out of 10. It's definitely not my favorite, and they do sometimes get a bit hit and miss, and that's kind of, you get what you pay for, because the camera in here, I know, was worth a lot of money, so they would have had to cut some costs somewhere. They've obviously recycled the trash can frame because it's meant to come with some little LED brackets at the back there, but yeah, overall I'm going to say about a 6 out of 10 in terms of quality. And then the pros and the cons. This is like the quickest bench breakdown ever. I'm going to say pros. It's got a good camera in here. It records in some 4K if you want to get that. It is in a very small form factor. It's pretty light. It's not under 100 grams though, which does kind of suck. It's got some ducks on there, so it's going to be safe when you're flying it around. And then I guess you just, if you want to watch this back and share your flight footage. If you're all about sharing your flight footage, then you're probably going to enjoy this. Things I don't like, or some of the negatives, it doesn't fly as well as the non-HD variants out there. It feels a little bit heavier and bulkier, and I didn't quite enjoy it so much. I do worry about in a hard crash over concrete, I think you're going to be snapping this top canopy off, and it's just not my favorite thing to fly. It didn't terribly excite me so much. So I don't know. There's a bit of the pros and the cons, but let me know, or what do you guys think? Right now, what we should do, let's go out to the field. What we're going to do, we're going to fly it around, and I'm going to show you some HD footage first. We're just going to jump straight into it. Whereas indoors, and this is the sort of environment I'd picture most people who want to try and capture something, they want to film something special, that's where they're flying around. So I took it to like a bit of an indoor space that I thought was going to come up pretty cool on the camera. We'll fly it around, and then for the real flight test, we'll also hand it over to Granger when we're out there, see what he thinks about it, because he's going to be outdoors and ripping this thing around, trying to do a bit of acro, so he'll be showing more of the flight characteristics of it. But let's do it. Go have some fun with the Eachine Cinecan in 3, 2, 1. Okie dokie, here we go. On board, we're just going to check out the HD footage. Actually, this is on 4K right now, but overall, and we see some of the DVR2 and Granger's flying around, but overall, I'm going to say I think it was, it was adequate. That's probably the word I was looking for. I really do like the Tarsec camera, and I do think it does its job well, but it's not going to be as good as a GoPro. So it's really a bit of a, a weight issue and a pro and a con. Do you want something bigger like the Cinebees or something from iFlight, or are you happy with the Cinecan and the footage that you get? This is where it really all comes down to you and your personal preference. It's a pretty good test for it. Right now, this is challenging environment, flying around indoors, LEDs going off everywhere, and I'm going to say, look, I think it's doing its job well, but it wasn't terribly, it's just, what can you say about this footage? I guess you guys would be the judge. We're about to flip it over now. And then this is in a much tighter sort of indoor space to where we see Granger flying around. The actual flight characteristics of the thing, look, it was fine. You definitely could feel the weight a little bit. It was a little bit heavier, but it's not my favorite. I do prefer the Lava X and those other ones in terms of flying this thing around. Even the Bushido or the Eachine 85, whatever it's called, the white one, and that one does HD as well. This one just wasn't really doing it for me. It felt heavier and bigger, a little bit more sluggish, not quite as easy to control. So I thought that's why I'd put some of these other bits on the screen. Some of my crashes getting stuck in the nets right there as well. But I guess here we go, taking off, third time's the charm, right? But yeah, getting a little bit of prop wash, it just felt heavy, a little bit sluggish, and just not my cup of tea. But I'd love to know what you guys think. If you've had some good experiences with this, I'm super happy for you. That's what it's all about, getting out there and enjoying yourself. But for me, I'm just going to say, I think you can kind of tell this through the whole review, flight and the bench and all that sort of stuff. It just didn't seem to be my favorite thing. But that's what we should do now. I did end up getting those at the end of the day, getting through all those hoops, I should say. But what we should do now, let's hand it over to Granger, see what he thinks out in the field. We're outside, and it's a much nicer day. That's why we're flying inside around here, because the weather has been absolutely terrible. But finally, let's meet up with Granger, and we're outdoors and having a rip around and see what he thinks. Radio Granger, so here we are. I've just been telling Tony off pretty much to zip it with his 20-minute long story in the background that went nowhere. But here we are, flying around. It's the trash can that does HD, whatever, Cine can or something like that. So first impressions.
It looks like that weird fish from The Simpsons.
With the couple of eyes?
Yeah, with the couple of eyes or triple eyes. Anyways.
Okay.
I don't know, it just looks weird. They all seem to be based off the, bigger Mobulas these days. But they're adding on, obviously, this is HD, yeah?
Yep.
Yeah, so it'll be interesting how they look. I've seen a lot of these sort of cameras, but I feel like they need less camera tilt. Oh, well, you can change it, actually. But yeah, hopefully the HD looks good.
Let's put on the sticks. The HD we've already seen. I just want to know your flight impressions too. Okay. And Cal's throwing sandwiches at you too. So
I'm being bullied by everyone.
Yeah, let's do it. All right, but we'll cut that bully part out because there's nothing but support here, right?
No, there's not support. See how I flinched? It's here.
Whose goggles do you want? You put your goggles on.
Mine are going to beat.
All right.
Wow, camera looks nice.
Really? I thought you were just saying off camera, oh, I'm not a fan of these two cameras, blah, blah, blah.
No.
Have you ever used one before?
I'm not a fan of the camera themselves. They look ugly, but...
Have you ever used one before?
Oh, sounds like a toaster.
Alright, so this is meant to be a little filming rig thing.
Yeah. First thing I'm noticing, it really feels like the Mobula 7. It's got the same sort of power, honestly. But this would be heavier, wouldn't it?
It is heavier, but it's also a 3S instead of a 2S.
Oh, yeah? Yeah, no, it feels really smooth, actually. I'm pleasantly surprised. You could get some really smooth shots with this. The camera quality looks really nice. The FOV is really nice, actually. You've got lots of FOV to look around.
Is it better than you're expecting in terms of the camera?
Yeah, actually it is. A lot better. I can actually see a lot of things.
It still sounds annoying, I can hear it though.
Yeah, it's obviously clipping with the ducks. Yeah, this is a great little rig, honestly. I mean, if the HD looks good, I'd be sold on this. The range on this is on the controller doesn't seem to be the best.
Yeah, it sounds like you're getting a few fail
Yeah,
safes.
I'm
Like
getting a few little fail safes behind here, which really isn't that far away. The VTX though, not bad. I can see just fine. I would probably get this over the normal Mobula because look, it has about the same power, but you can get HD with this, which is pretty cool.
Are you getting any latency with that camera?
No, not that I can feel. For how fast this thing goes, you won't be really able to notice it. So it's not a big issue. It's not bad at all. But yeah, no, it's not bad. It flies really pleasantly well.
You're in 9 volts, mate. You need to come in there.
Yeah, no, this is not bad.
All right, thumbs up, thumbs down, or in the middle?
I'd probably say thumbs up.
You didn't know what your arm switch was then, did you?
Yeah, I flicked up to sort of, I don't know. Yeah.
Hang up. All right, final impressions?
Not bad, not bad. I'd probably go in between half and up.
Okay, so 3/4 up.
3/4 up.
Okay. It's getting some bad innuendos here. All right, thanks, mate. Rightio, so there it is. There's my review of the Eachine Cinecan, and overall, it's probably for me about a 7 out of 10. I don't think it's bad in any means, but maybe it's just the times we're in. It doesn't terribly excite me very much, and I feel like it's kind of halfway. It doesn't fly as good as some of the other non-HD ones, and it doesn't make as nice footage as the things like the proper big, those big like Cinebees, the ones you put your GoPro in and stuff. I thought I had one laying around I could show you, but I don't. Jono's got that. Thanks, Jono. But yeah, so overall, it's just kind of stuck halfway. Yes, it's going to suit some people out there. There is going to be a niche market that wants a small form factor that can record with the tasks they're in there, that's not going to break the bank. And if that's you, well then this drone is going to be perfect. I'm more than happy for you. But for most people out there, if that's not what you're interested in, I'm going to say you're much better off getting suited like the Lava if you want to get that, or something else if you want to go for the filming side of things. This part is just kind of stuck in the middle. But that's going to do it for my review of the Cinecan. Other than that, subscribe for more FPV related content, and as always, happy flying, happy filming, and half fly, I don't know, happy flying.